Francesca, siamo qua oggi con Alfred, per la prima volta vediamo tutti insieme la mostra, è stato abbastanza complicato riuscire ad allestire tutto anche a distanza in questo periodo, come sappiamo, e quindi possiamo finalmente vedere la mostra con l'artista presente, dopo faremo una passeggiata tutti insieme. Ma intanto come nasce questo progetto? Come è stato coinvolto Alfred Seiland in questo progetto di cui oggi noi vediamo finalmente l'allestimento definitivo?
Alfred è arrivato a Brescia nel 2012 per la prima volta per riprodurre il Capitolium. L'idea è partita proprio da quel monumento ed è rimasto poi legato alle nostre attività, alle nostre iniziative, soprattutto ai lavori che hanno riguardato il patrimonio monumentale negli anni. E da qui è nata una narrazione per immagini di quello che si stava sviluppando in Brescia. Ed è partita una felicissima collaborazione con Comune di Brescia, Fondazione Brescia Musei e anche il supporto di Schirà, che ci ha portato ad avere per la prima volta in Italia la mostra Imperium Romanum con una sezione totalmente inedita dedicata a Brescia e anche nuovi scatti rispetto ad altre edizioni. Cogliamo l'occasione per approfondire alcuni aspetti del suo lavoro come fotografo e anche per poter capire questo strettissimo rapporto che emerge nel progetto Imperium Romano tra archeologia e fotografia, in forte relazione anche con il programma che Comune di Brescia e Fondazione Brescia Musei hanno fatto partire con il rientro della Vittoria Alata a Brescia.
Alfred, I can imagine you spent a lot of time traveling and investigating countries and places where you finally decided to shoot. What kind of feeling you was expecting with these places? What kind of relation with this site?
Well, I do a lot of preparation work before I travel to a country or a place that I would like to photograph. So it means that I'm looking at many of the existing pictures, which I do not want to repeat again. On the other side, I do a lot of preparation work with Google Earth. So I check the surrounding of the places so that I get some ideas maybe already in advance, which could be interesting for me, since I'm not focusing mainly on the main monument there. So it's like if you are there, look at it and make one step back again and again to include something more from the outside.
Looking for the best point of view.
Yes, and also for the combination of things in the image. And the thing is that most of the time when I arrive, I spent the first day just for looking.
Yes, for looking, yes, of course.
And to get a relation to the monument. But then you get an idea what you can do. And I'm mostly very satisfied if I return from a place and I have this one picture that I was looking for. I'm not shooting many pictures. So my average for a good day is 1 to 2 images. Yeah. So that means that I'm concentrating a lot of the place, the viewpoint, and the time of the day when I'm shooting.
Alfred, in your project Imperium Romano, there's a very deep relationship between the text and the pictures. You ask too many experts, archaeologists, historians, to write the text about the sites, but please can you explain us what is the balancing between the importance of the text and the pictures, and which is the starting point to choose a site for your project?
Well, in the beginning the main focus was on the photographic viewpoint. But during the process of the project, it became more and more interesting for me to also work in situations where you do not see a monument or even not a relation but maybe the reason is under the ground for the image. So actually I had to show a picture that has a lot of relations, but do not really show this by the photograph itself. Therefore, I started also during the process of the whole things that are related to the photograph. I also realized that this is better transferable to the viewer if there are some informations and explanations during the text. And some things you cannot just show by a picture. And this got more and more important as long as I was changing my attitude to the project and also to the way of I photographed the places. And in this case, I think the captions are very important, sometimes more important in the relation to modern times, or even the opposite thing. But of course, the text does not really need to explain things that you see in the image anyway. But the text should be something additional to the photograph. Of course, not as important as the photograph itself, but to help the people to understand the whole situation in a better way.
Alfred, we know that from the past we have a lot of calotypes and blueprints from Giacomo Caneva, Frédéric Flacheron, Robert McPherson, all these photographers living in the half 19th century and shooting for the first time Rome and the surrounding of the Eternal City. What kind of sensation, of emotion you think your photographs will give to the future generation when they will look at your work?
Well, of course, when I look at these old pictures, sometimes I feel it could be nice to be in the same position and the area would be similar to the one in the old photographs. But of course, I'm not expecting that. Some cases it's a little similar, but most of the time the modern area has increased and coming closer and closer to the monuments. Since this is part of my project, this confrontation, I have to live with this, and this also offers me many more opportunities. I think if I would have done my project without all these urban areas around the monuments, it would have been boring for me, because the monuments, many of the monuments look alike. Maybe they are more destroyed or less destroyed, but in general they look alike. And I never wanted to do a lot of images that look similar from theaters and so on. To me, the monument, if there is one in the picture, is just in the background. Some very few times it's the main object, but the other things that are around are the important things for my photographs. So actually, I think since time changes, also from now on, there will be, even if they are protected very well sometimes, there will be some changes through wars and whatever. But I think my photographs are a in-between situation from these old photographs when the landscape were clean and ordered in a way to the future. That means maybe you cannot expect as a photographer that your your pictures changes anyway in the behavior of the people. But I realize that many people are still very sensitive.
Alfred, among the countries you were to work in the North Africa, Morocco, Egyptian, I noticed the lack of Libya. I can imagine that it was impossible for you to visit Libya and spend days working there because of the war and the conflict still running in these days. And I can imagine that this kind of political approach is something you feel when you go in these countries, especially in the Middle East and North Africa. How do you live the situation when you are there, when you are working in these countries? I mean, among these people and with this kind of difficult situation.
Well, that's correct. Libya was always a very important part of my project, but actually I never managed to go there at the right time. I guess it would have been much easier during the Gaddafi area because everything was much more under control. And I was very lucky to come to Syria exactly when the revolution began there. And I even had to stop my trip there, but I had made the most important monuments already in my project and photographed them. But this is always a problem. Over this 15 years or more, I had always to change my plans because of war in some parts of the country or whatever. And then I did not get the permission to go there. So these things followed all over the years through my project, and especially Libya was also important in Northern Africa because a Roman emperor also came from there. And Leptis Magna and Sabrata always have been dream spots for my project. But since now the political situation is stabilizing a little bit, I hope, since I gave me 3 more years to finish my project. But I still have to go to some other difficult countries also, like Crimea or Iraq and even Yemen, but this is not so important. But Libya, of course. This I always have to try to be prepared to go to those places, and I hope it will turn out successfully at the end.
Alfred, we met here in 2012 when you came in Brescia for the first time to take picture about the Capitolium. And in these years you came here several times and you had the occasion to follow with us the changes of our heritage. Opening of new part of museum, restoration works, and so you are very familiar in Brescia and you know very well our heritage, our monumental heritage, especially the archaeological area and the monastery. And we are very proud that you decided to insert Brescia inside your project Imperium Romanum. Can you explain to us which characteristics of our heritage has impressed you to decide to come again several times to include Brescia in your project?
Well, when I first came to Brescia, I realized that this area around the Capitolium is almost like a center of the town. Because the square down there, the former forum, was very much crowded with people, especially during the weekend. And it was a different thing as in many other cities, because in other cities the monuments are in different areas of the city and not that concentrated as here. This was always to me like a promenade in front of the Capitolium, when the people were walking by and were talking to each other. And in this way, my idea of this picture of the Capitolium formed over the years. And since I didn't want to make just a photograph of the Capitolium that is similar of many other photographs that exist already, I was trying to find another situation. And at the same time, I think the area here is quite difficult to photograph. Beside the archaeological information that you can deliver with a photograph. But therefore I decided to use the Capitolium in my main picture about Brescia, use like a scene in the background, and to concentrate more on the things that are going on in front of in the public area outside of the park. And this was, I think, finally also a good solution for my work, because it's the photograph I did is quite different from the other photographs I have in my project from such a monument as you see here.
La mostra Alfred Seiland Imperium Romanum 2005-2020 rappresenta un grande traguardo per la Fondazione Brescia Musei. L'obiettivo dal principio, 2 anni fa, quando abbiamo iniziato a collaborare con il maestro Seiland, era riuscire a identificare un progetto fotografico che declinasse appieno il programma di trasformazione della percezione del nostro grande patrimonio romano. Grazie al lavoro congiunto della nostra archeologa Francesca Morandini e dell'ufficio mostre abbiamo identificato un artista che non era mai stato esposto in Italia, ma con un grande successo alle spalle negli Stati Uniti e in Europa, con in mente un progetto incredibile che da 15 anni lo porta a visitare il Mediterraneo e il Vicino Oriente alla ricerca dei residui di romanità che dialogano, interferiscono e sopravvivono nel contemporaneo. Le sue non sono fotografie estetizzanti, tardo-romantiche, non c'è nulla di questo in Alfred Seiland, c'è l'idea che il patrimonio romano è un patrimonio vivo, che convive con le infrastrutture, con l'inquinamento, con il turismo di massa, ma non è per questo meno importante, anzi vive nel presente delle comunità che sono le eredi di quelle tradizioni imperiali e tardo-imperiali. Quindi un grande progetto che rappresenta pienamente il nostro concetto di archeologia viva, un'archeologia plastica che serva a plasmare l'identità di un territorio, non un'identità soltanto storica, un'identità fatta di presente e di contemporaneo. Una grande mostra, un grande onore aver collaborato con Schirà, che è copromotore di questa importante operazione, e anche una grande personale soddisfazione perché questo progetto giunge nel momento della ripartenza del nostro sito archeologico e dei nostri musei dopo la lunga pandemia. Un invito a viaggiare e a riscoprire anche gli spazi espositivi temporanei che sono a Santa Giulia stati recuperati negli ultimi 6 mesi.